Impatience. It's easy to give up on things. Everything seems kind of so exciting and exhilarating at first. You know, it can be really exciting to think that you're going to be like the next big musician, the next big sports star, or the next like greatest artist or whatever, or the next best speaker, or the next best like YouTuber. And online we see all of these perfect people, we see our idols, we see people that we aspire to be like, and it excites us, it's motivating. But it takes time to see results, and in the current society that we live in, lots of the things that are kind of pushed are all like very big and very like dopaminergic, you know, they're very like switching on your brain and they're exciting at the start. But the way nature works is a lot more slower. It takes time to see results, you know. These are like compound investments that take time to see results. And it can be really off-putting and really disappointing to put in a lot of time to something and then realize that you're not that great at it, that you've got so much further to go. And of course we all have kind of different strengths and weaknesses and different potentials for things, but to give up on them is the easy way out. It's just to forget about it and put it in the past and be like, oh, whatever, I'm not going to be good at this. And that's not a very good attitude to have for life, because we're here and we don't know how long we're here for. And if we give up on ourselves, then we're giving up on life, we're giving up on what we could be, we're giving up on our potentialities. And of course this isn't to say that, you know, we just gotta like work hard and eventually we'll get there. We've got to kind of listen to like what the world's telling us. And like, if you don't have any hands, it's like you can't really be a guitarist like any other people could be, you know. It's kind of like use common sense. I know that's a stupid example to kind of give because it's a bit rude to you, but that's just kind of the point that I'm trying to make here. But at the start, when we're doing these things and we're starting these things and it feels like we're so far away from where we want to be, it kind of feels like we'll never reach there, that we'll never be there. But through time and effort, we can become better at things and we can learn things and we can build up on the skills of things. And you know, it's often just around that corner of where there's that difficult point that's where the things are, that's where the growth is, that's where the excitement is. And to do this requires something that I call blind faith. It's where you have trust in yourself in the process of putting in the work and allowing things to happen, and just knowing that even though you're not quite where you want to be at the moment, that if you keep putting in the effort day after day, you know, it doesn't have to be insane. It just like you're taking steps towards it. You're doing a little bit better each day, 1% better. You're just writing down a couple sentences. You're just drawing an eyeball. You're just writing down a couple ideas. Then these things kind of build up, and then it kind of builds momentum, and then, you know, these things kind of kick off, and then it's kind of compounds and becomes this flywheel. And I guess at the core of all these things is, in life we all have this desire to be loved, to feel like we belong, to feel like we have some sort of sense of purpose and recognition and belonging. And of course we all search for these things in unique and personal ways based on our upbringing, our personalities and all that. But at the core it's all kind of the same thing. And you know, we can be really oblivious to our weaknesses and our strengths. And for example, you know, like in movies, you know, when our ego can get caught up in things and we see movies and we're like, oh, why doesn't this person just do that? Why don't the characters just do this? You know, we want them to just do the right thing. But the thing that makes the movies so interesting is that there's this interplay of conflict. There's this weakness that they have to overcome. There's this trait that they have that makes them more realistic, more relatable. And we have those things and inside of us, and we've got to kind of recognize that, otherwise we're going to get caught up. And conflict makes a good story is basically what I'm trying to say. And we need this contrast of the darks and the lights. You know, we can't just have all the good. We can't just have all the money and the perfect partner and the perfect friends and the perfect home and the perfect family, you know, because the things that make them so worthwhile is the kind of struggle and the fight and the doubt and the kind of this gray area where it's like the stuff that we don't want to do, but we do it for a kind of greater good, for a better future. And of course, we can't be constantly obsessing about the future because it's not certain. It's a mystery. We don't know what's going to happen, and the present is all that we have, which is something that I've repeated again and again. And the present is very important because the things that you put in now are going to have an effect on your future. And it's kind of hard to see that, but we also got to understand that in the present, if the present is all we have, we can be like, oh well, fuck it, if I'm not sure about the future, then I may as well just take a bunch of drugs and just experience as much pleasure as possible. And I don't know, maybe that's a way to go. Usually I would say, like, don't go down that path, but maybe there's something for you to learn down that path, and whichever path you take, you're going to end up kind of in a similar spot. You're going to learn some lessons or whatever, and it's up to you how you kind of live your life at the end of the day. That didn't turn out how I expected it to, but I've been opening up my mind, which is something that I'll talk about in the next video. Anyway, I just wanted to also talk about this YouTube channel. And I have a lot of fear of being like judged and kind of feeling like I'm really weird and that I'm different when I kind of do these videos, because I'm like, oh, what would people actually think of me when they hear me talking, when people that I know see these videos, like, what are they going to think? Because in person I'm very kind of quiet. I don't talk a whole lot. I share my ideas only kind of with people that I'm really close to, but it take a while to really warm up to kind of people. And I guess what I realized that if I give into this fear, that's what's going to make it real. When I give into the fear and say no, that's why I kind of hid this YouTube channel for a while, because I guess I was just scared, and I was like, oh, I feel like I'm repeating myself. I feel like I'm not going anywhere with this. I feel like it's just kind of almost like, why am I doing this? I'm just making a fool of myself, and I'm kind of repeating myself, and it doesn't feel right. But that kind of stemmed from, I guess, not feeling worthy, but also not realizing that the reason that I started this, the reason that I'm doing this and things like this, is because I love the process of self-exploration and exploring my ideas and trying to communicate them clearly and discovering more about myself and life, and then just talking about it and seeing what happens. And then kind of using this as like a journal to kind of see like, oh, this is where I come from, this is what I thought. And all those cringe videos are going to be so much better when I start making better videos, like one day I can look back at this and go like, that's where I came from. This guy's kind of funny, and now look where I'm at, And also hopefully along the way, I hope this kind of helps others and maybe helps create connections, helps other people out, and gives them some kind of takeaways to do with their life. Because at the end of the day, we're all kind of on this process of finding out how we're going to live. We're not quite sure, but we're all working on our best guesses and just kind of going along with it and seeing what happens. And I think that to continue on the things that we enjoy, the things that kind of take up, that we get lost in, and I get lost in just talking and creating these videos and just coming up with ideas. Like, even when I wasn't doing this YouTube channel, like the past several months, ideas were still coming, and I was like, oh, they're just still coming, and I just love writing them down. And when you have something like that where you kind of get lost in it and it's still coming up and it's still kind of something that you love and you enjoy, you should probably continue that and find a way to express it and share it with other people. Because if we're just keeping all these things to ourselves, then what's the point of it? Because as I said, we all want belonging and purpose, and that comes from sharing with other people. And that's something that I'm still learning to do, but something that I'm realizing is more and more important, because I've been so focused on me. What do I want? How do I feel? What am I going to do with my life? And that's kind of like a really selfish way to be. And, I feel like I've been quite selfish to other people, And to finish, with this process, it's nice to talk about these things, but I think I also want to show results. That's always been something that's very important to me. It's like, I like talking about these things, but I got to back it up, Like, I've been talking about all these ideas of continuing things, just making it easy, continuing it, enjoying it, and sticking to something and making it better and becoming better as a person, And that's something that I gave up on myself, and it's something that I need to work on, which is kind of ironic because I'm talking about it to other people and giving other people this advice, but I myself am not doing it. And so I think it's really important that I back up what I say and actually show the results, because that's like the most important, to just show that you're an integral person, you know, that you actually mean what you say and you follow up on it and you actually use it in your life. And I think that's one of the most admirable traits, and why I love like musicians or sports people, because, you know, they have the results, and maybe they don't have the best mindset, maybe they don't have the best lives, but you know, they have the results. And I want to pair that with the philosophy and like the spirituality and the understanding of life and these deep kind of concepts, and then going deep into your practice as well and having them kind of both. Anyway, I'm just kind of talking, just like oh, I'm so cool, I'm so great, yeah. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.